Welcome tour for the Switch 2. I don't get it. I mean, I get it. But man, this needed to be a pack-in title. First things first, there's so much charm and Nintendo like pizzazz in this game. I mean, it feels like you're walking through a very interactive kind of museum as you explore all of the different parts of what makes the Switch 2 family the Switch 2 family. And initially, it's very cool. You've got the museum-like music, and you're walking around, and you're seeing these places to do mini games in. But I'm having the hardest time wondering why it's $10. Why are we paying for this? Why did I pay for this? I don't know if I got very far. I got up to the Switch 2 dock, and I mean, I know that the camera and the Pro Controller, and I think even the wheels for Mario Kart are in there in some way. And I do know that if you don't have those accessories, you cannot play the mini games associated to those areas, which means you technically can't complete the whole experience. I'm not even going to call it a game. I'm just going to call it an experience because I just experienced something. And it was wonder in the first 5 seconds and boredom the rest of the time that I played. And it sucks to say that because I think this is the perfect pack-in title, because I think it does get people invested and informed about their system, which is cool. And for me, I do like that kind of stuff. But I found that while it showcases a lot of what's cool about the Switch 2 and a lot of the features, the HD Rumble 2, the way the Joy-Cons work and how they've designed the way the buttons and spacing between things are so that there's less rattling and all of this interesting stuff, I suppose. It's just boring. If you just take everything that you see in an area and complete it as you go, you will get bored very fast. And I say that because you have a couple of different components. There's a stamp system where essentially in each area, so say, I think you start out with the left Joy-Con. You start out in the left Joy-Con area, or the right, the left one. I'm pretty sure it's the left one. And essentially there are these hidden stamps, and essentially the stamps are not really hidden. You just need to go to the parts of that part of hardware you're exploring, and then a little pedestal will pop up and you'll interact with it. And if it's a Switch 2 specific thing that's like new to the Switch 2, it'll maybe give you like a tiny little blurb to say what that thing does. But other than that, you literally will walk up to the A button, a pedestal will pop up, and then it'll say A button. And then you hit A to stamp it. And you need to collect all the stamps in an area in order to be given access to the next area. And so there's this kind of like slow, very repetitious nature to the way that the game kind of unfolds with you or for you. And I don't know. Maybe it was me because when I play games, I typically like to take each area as its own thing, complete it, and then move on to the next new area. But you get to a point that if you do play that way, and it's funny because I think there are even some NPCs that talk about coming back to these certain components later and just doing the stamps first. But you have these like desks where people then throw these insights, and it allows you to read about whatever that insight topic is. So it could be on the Joy-Con 2 straps, or it can be on the HD Rumble, or the mouse controls and all of that stuff. And so you'll have these cards pop up where you'll interact with them, and then you read a blurb and you maybe see a little video or a demonstration to help explain what that thing you're reading is. And it just feels very slow. There's no like speed running through the reading. You kind of hit A to activate it. It does the animation for the white box to pop up. Some of them have like videos that you have to see the full video through before you can move on to the next slide. And it just feels like it takes away from the momentum of like, oh, I got this new Switch 2. What does all of it do? And, you know, this game is supposed to be your way to learn all of that. It just doesn't do it. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I think it's cool. And I think that leading up to the launch, you learn a lot about this up front. I just, in my head, man, I just keep thinking this is a pack-in title. And this should not cost money. Because this is just literally allowing the person playing to learn more about the system they just purchased and are now playing. The little bit of charm and wonder that I was like, oh wow, this is actually pretty cool, quickly just faded away because I just realized I was literally doing the same thing. And I mean, you can say this about any game, but the nature of how slow you just move and you just go from one point to one point, and it's talk to this person at a desk, here are insights, read the insights, take a quiz on the insights. If you miss one, you got to take the quiz again, and if you were wrong about something, it'll tell you which insight card has the information you need to answer that question, right? But yeah, you'll do that. Find a desk, look at the insights, go back to the desk to take the quiz. They pat you on the back and say, great job, you're a better pro at the microphone than I am, or like at HD Rumble than I am, or whatever. And then you move around the little piece of hardware you're on, whether it be the Joy-Con, the Switch 2 tablet, or the dock, or camera, whatever, and you look for stamps. And that's literally, for instance, like I said earlier, Joy-Con. Walk over to the A button, walk over to the Y button, walk over to X, B, walk over to the R and ZR. Walk over to the SLSR, walk over to the home button and the C button. And then it's like just, you're checking stuff off of a list. And then when it comes to the mini games, a lot of them are cool. And I even realized that a few of them actually encourage you, or not really encourage you because you have to do it this way, but you'll have to take the Switch out of the dock in order to play a certain mini game. Or if you're, I don't know, on a 4K display that can support 120 hertz, then you need to be on that type of display in order to play this minigame. And if you're not, then you can't access the minigame. Or I think there was one with touchscreen controls. So you have to take the Switch out of the dock in order to do the minigame because it's wanting you to touch the whole screen a bunch of times. And so I thought that was pretty cool, at least for the stuff that people should be able to do with the Switch out of the box. I found it a little odd that even, and I don't even know if I'll get this far. Maybe I will, and I'll just like run through all the stamps at least. But for things like the camera, that was one thing I didn't want to get. I can't try that mini game out with the camera, which, whatever, is on me. Fine. But it's just odd because it feels like not, I don't want to use scummy, but it's just a lack for better words. It's really just weird because this should be a pack-in title where the wonder of, oh, what is this thing that Nintendo keeps showing me would be cool to have paired with my Switch 2 really do. So like for the camera, like say you got your Switch 2, you popped it out of the box, Welcome Tour's on there already. You're playing it and you're like, oh wow, this is really cool. And then you get to the camera part and then they start showing you stuff about the camera and then you can't play the minigame. And at that point, the game's already pre-installed on the Switch. So then maybe you get excited and you're like, you know what? I'm so interested in this based on the info insight cards I've read and the quizzes I've taken and walking around the camera, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be cool to have. And then you maybe just get up and go get it because you're like, oh, I'm that interested in it enough that now I actually do want it. Now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe Nintendo's onto something and I'll get the dang weird accessory. But to pay $10 to even just want to learn more about the Switch and then find out for the stuff that you're not interested in, you would have to pay an additional $30, $50, whatever, to then access that part of this $10 game is kind of insane to me, just so you could say you've experienced everything that they're trying to like get you to understand about each piece of hardware or accessory or whatever. I don't know, man. That thing is just weird. It's weird. I was sitting here and I was just recording footage and I played the game for 2 hours and I got through, I think, the right Joy-Con strap and then stopped by the dock. And I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I would rather just run around and find whatever they think is stamp worthy and then see all of the other things. And some of the mini games were cool. A lot of them so far up to that point were the ones that Nintendo just kept highlighting, like the mouse dodging the spike balls and things like that. But aside from that, the only means of like entertaining you further is unlocking like higher challenge levels or difficulty levels to those mini games. And anytime you do a mini game or you do like a tech demo, which I'll give them credit, the tech demos have been really cool so far. But if you want to engage in kind of like all the material in the game, you gotta legitimately get the medal for every single mini game. Because I think I saw one that was like 41 medals, another one was like 72 or something. I don't know, some high numbers. And I'm like, oh. And a lot of these mini games, if not all of them, I think have 4 different difficulty tiers that unlock as you get more medals. And I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. The tech demos are cool. I mean, I tried the Maraca one, and you know the HD Rumble's really impressive. Like it did feel, because I think you could change between like beads inside of the maracas or like a rubber ball, and that rubber ball sensation of rolling in the maraca, it actually did simulate the feeling of like an actual rubber bouncing ball that would be rolling. I don't know. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, I mean, even like the HDR stuff is pretty cool. They have one where it was like showcasing fireworks and you could like pause the fireworks and then toggle HDR on and off so you could see like how it's working. And then, you know, we've probably all seen the Mario World 1, Level 1, and you could see it on a 4K display and it's literally just a straight line. So, you know, that stuff's quirky and cool. But other than that, I mean, I just wish it moved faster. I wish that you could like spam clear the text boxes when you're reading those insights. And I just wish there was some variety in kind of like the way that the game kind of moves you forward when you're doing those things. Because it's just a lot of like, oh, wow, you are such a professional at this now. You make me look bad. And then you move on to the next booth and you're like, oh, I'm doing it again. And then they go, oh, you are such a professional. You are making me look bad. And you're like, okay. And then you find some stamps. And then you're like, okay, I'm just going to focus on the stamps because I don't really want to do the mini games. And maybe I got one medal, but I don't want to sit here playing even longer to get the second medal that you can get in this challenge tier. So I'm just going to get the stamps and move on to the next one. But then you end up doing that over and over and over again. And it's like, for me at least, how cool can you make looking at the thing you already have in hand physically? Like, it's really cool seeing a digital mock-up of the Switch 2 and all of its accessories, but I literally I'm using the Switch 2. So to me, that's more cool. Like, that's what I'm more invested in, the fact that I have the thing that I'm seeing on screen digitally that's telling me about the thing I have physically. At that point, I'd rather just test it out and figure it out on my own, because whatever, that's cool. And yeah, I don't know. There's some other things with freaking, you know, you can go inside of the Joy-Con and you still see stamps where it's like, oh, this is the home button, but now it's like the home button on the inside of the Joy-Con. And you're like, oh, very cool. Yeah, I don't know, guys. This is just me rambling. I just had to talk about it. I really don't think it's worth your money. If you're really interested in the Switch 2 in and of itself, like I am, sure, drop the $9.99 and try it out. At least it's not any more than that. I wish it was less, at least $5 or at most $5. But yeah, at that point, like if you're wanting to get a second, like say you got the Mario Kart World bundle and you just want a kind of a smaller little game to hold you over and you don't want to spend another $70, get Fast Fusion. I don't even have Fast Fusion and I wish I got Fast Fusion. Even though I have Mario Kart as a racer. It's $5 more, but it's an actual like game to me. Whereas I feel like Welcome Tour welcomes you in only to waste your time with how slow it moves. And it's just, in my head, it's so silly to do something like this. Make an interactive system manual, essentially. Have you slog through it when you have that system you're digitally exploring in the palm of your hands, and you can kind of do that stuff yourself. That's my take on Welcome Tour, so you're welcome. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. It helps out a ton. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be safe. Take care. Peace.